Hello everyone, today we're going to be playing just a single level of Pop-Up Dungeon, but what I'd like to focus on is just bringing to your attention some of the new things that we've added in the latest patch, and also just talk about some of the places that we're taking the game in development here. So, as you may be able to tell, we have some things that are, not active yet in this box. I alluded to two of them before in a previous video. But I want to talk about what we're going to do with this current just level goes up and goes down, and that's not that exciting. So this other space here to the left of it is going to be where you are going to select your campaign. Now a campaign is going to be a collection of challenges. A challenge can be anywhere between 3, 5, 7, or even up to 50 or 100 levels if you wanted to make them a very long form challenge. And what you'll be able to do with these challenges is set a whole bunch of different options, a whole bunch of different modifiers. Select the tile set, select the enemies, select the equipment, select the interactables, how the DM is going to perform, and possibly even some neat little storytelling things that we'll go into in the future. I don't want to promise anything that we can't deliver just yet, but we're going to be trying our best to give you some storytelling options right out of the gate when it comes to the release version. Otherwise, that's something that we're going to try to do in future development. So basically what you're going to be able to do is create these challenges. Each of these challenges are going to be a shareable or savable object. You combine these challenges to create the campaign, and then you can share the campaign. The campaign can come with everything that it needs included in it, so that another player could just easily download your campaign and play right through it. So in essence, what this will turn into is the capacity to share entire sort of, RPGs, because the campaign can be 20 hours long if you wanted it to be. But it can also be a very short little campaign. It can be a single challenge, just a little scenario that you cook up for your friends. So these tickets over here are going to potentially allow access to certain challenges that you couldn't gain access to in another way, but mostly they're going to be to provide some kind of a modifier for the campaign. So that might be that you're going to start with better equipment, that you're going to be able to destroy a certain amount of props during deployment phase, all sorts of bonuses and modifiers that you'll be able to gather. That's not in yet. So we can't go too much into detail there because that's still being developed. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is, if you notice right now, if I take this samurai off of there and I put him back on,
my gaze is broad.
His name is Musashi, and he is the samurai. And beneath there, you'll see it just says samurai. Now, if you look very closely right now, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but these little stands that they're on top of, the little air is blowing out of them, can actually lift up. They sort of telescope up a little bit, and you're going to see another knob there. And that knob is going to allow you to control builds for these characters. And these characters will be able to be, right now the samurai has, let's say he's going to dual wield, or he's going to have one sword, or he's going to have archery as a part of his skill set. Or with the wizard, let's say you want him to be specifically an ice mage or a fire mage. You don't have to create an entirely different character and then just have this box down here populated with 14, 15 wizards. You're going to be able to save these as subsets of the characters, sort of as builds, and you'll be able to select them there. So there's a couple other things here. These things off to the left and right are probably going to be what we're going to use for your own sorting purposes. You're going to be able to put little stickers on these that will make them your favorites, or even unfavorite them, so that they won't appear higher on the lists. That way, when we have possibly 10, 15 pages full of these little characters, it's going to start becoming a little bit harder to sort through. Of course, you'll have your search down here, and you can also search using these little nifty tags that we have for you. So now let's get into the game. And what we're going to show you here in the game is just a couple of the different changes that we've made. We're still, of course, tuning a lot of the usability, but we've added a lot of options recently. And so right now the option menu is, as you're going to see, is just a reflected interface. That means it's just being generated from code directly. So it's not going to be pretty, and it's not going to be very well organized just yet. But here you're going to be able to see that in the video you're going to have all of the sort of quality settings, display settings that you'd normally want to make sure the game runs well for you. Audio is also pretty self-explanatory. You're going to have all of the different audio controls that you'd want. Under game, you're going to just see user interfaces right now. This controls how bright the highlights are, and it also allows you to turn on and off the combat log. If you want a lot more information as to what's going on, you can turn on the log right there. Something new that you're going to find are key bindings. This is an important step in, of course, creating a port version of this game, but is also going to be, something that is good for playing it on PC. So you may not even have known that we have time controls. You can speed up or slow down time. There are some buttons there, and you will also be able to determine how much faster, how much slower you want the game to go. The camera controls, you're going to notice this down here, which is switch camera style, and I'll show that to you in just a bit. It's kind of a unique little feature that we're trying to put into the game, but here are your time controls, how fast you want it to be, if you want it to toggle or if you want it to be held. Same with slow motion. So let's say I want to take slow motion all the way down to a quarter speed. And then we have our click and dragging. This is important because since you have to do clicking and dragging in this, you may accidentally start dragging when you click. If you had trouble using cards before, you'll be able to tune it to your preferences there, and that'll be a lot easier to use. And then finally, we just have camera controls. So you have the movement controls and for mouse and buttons, on the keyboard. And then we also have snap rotations, which means when you use those sort of snap rotation keys, you can control if it's going to do a 180 or 90 degrees, whatever you'd like. Some of these features or some of these options may not make it to release. We're just seeing what people like right now in the alpha, also to get an idea of what we want to set as our defaults. Now we're going to look at these two camera settings. So here you can find a lot of different options for two different types of cameras. That means that you basically have two cameras that you can customize yourself. Now I'm going to resume here and I'll press the button, and you can see that I immediately go to an isometric sort of camera here, and I can switch back to our classic camera. So if you want, you can set up a tactical camera for yourself, and then a camera that lets you sort of explore the environment a little more, look at your characters a little bit more. You have complete control over this, so it's something that obviously you can tune to whatever your preferences are. So now we'll enter our first encounter here.
Think lightly of yourself.
I got pretty lucky with the initiative, so we'll just start off this way.
Let's not leave it to the gods.
I think I can take this spider down with the samurai here. Yep, that does it for the spider.
I will do this alone.
Next up, let's see how this skull and crossbow handles this. Ooh, he survived. That might be a problem, we'll find out.
I do not seek glory.
I think Thorian's got this. Yep.
Burning righteous flame!
There's that death rattle. So one thing you may have noticed is that we did add sound effects to all of our props now. After this combat, I'm going to show you something else that's new with props.
I am of one mind.
We'll bust through this gravestone here.
Walk quietly, carry a sharp sword.
Your faith is your weakness.
Let's go do a hand touch over here.
Look upon your death.
And that should do it.
It was inevitable.
Okay, and we're still working on this part of the interface. We've had a lot of really good suggestions. Right now, basically, just to show you how this works is I would be able to drag this out and compare to everything that is currently being used. I get to see what I'm gaining, what I'm losing right off to the side there. It's highlighting this bag up here, which is just going to allow me to sell it. We're probably going to have a whole buyback system and everything like that, but right now it's very basic and there is no buyback system, so just be aware of that. So one of the things that we did with props is it used to be that you'd have to come up to the prop and you'd have to click on the prop and you'd animate and attack it, and then you'd destroy it. Now we've made it so that you can basically left or right click on the prop and destroy it. As long as you can see it, you can destroy it. Now, obviously, this comes with ramifications. You're going to definitely lose some cover when you're doing this. Sometimes it's not going to be a good idea, so break them at your own discretion. Let's see what I got here. No good. But it is much easier to break. Now, one of the reasons that we did this is because we're going to be doing a hidden gold system very soon. We're starting to work on interactable props next, and when we do that, we're going to definitely want to make it easier for you to break props. We don't want you to have to walk around the entire map breaking every prop one at a time if you're going to be looking for hidden gold. Now, the hidden gold system is not going to be something too intrusive. We don't want to weigh it so that it feels like it's something that you absolutely have to do. It's something that should feel pretty optional, just kind of as a little extra bonus. And you'll actually be able to see the gold.
Set of skills.
The gold will be hidden somewhere on the prop. Sometimes not very hidden at all. So that means, for instance, it could be that a little gold coin would be on top of the sarcophagus here. And by destroying it, you would gain that gold. Alright, so now, let's see what we're up to.
There will be no door.
My sword is drawn.
We'll go straight
We
into
are
combat
pilgrims
here.
in an unholy land.
Keep things interesting.
Transportation is a precise business. Earl Grey's people.
Some of the voices that you're going to hear are
Say
not
my
the
pound
final
of roast
voices.
is an
We're
argument
just
Cold
kind
in the
of
shadow.
putting in placeholders right now so it isn't too silent.
Don't get on my bad side.
My gaze is broad.
So another thing that we have added is you can right click now to inspect. You don't have to double click. We basically want to make sure that right click is going to be
Never
sort of
stray
your
from
more
the way.
information button at all times.
Here.
Right now, if I bring up a card and I try to right click on it, nothing's going to happen. But our goal is to make it so that any sort of effect or status or anything like that that is on a card, you're going to be able to right
I will
click
fear
and get
no
more
evil.
information. That's basically the
I walk
way that
through
you'll
the
be
valley.
able to learn the game easily, and
flame.
when you're constantly encountering new abilities and new enemies and things like that, we're going to try to put the information as much at your fingertips as possible. And now if you see this little symbol here in front of Wolfric,
Do I look good in
that's
mustard?
detaunt.
Your liver's going on
So you may not have seen that status
Orchid.
before.
How quaint. Earl Grey's people.
Baby Bidus. It basically means that he can't
There
attack
will be
this hockey
no
massacre. So if I try to attack him, I can't do it because he has detaunted me. That can work for stealth type mechanics. It can work for
Death
intimidation, hypnosis. So it's really just a reverse taunt. Taunt forces you to attack the target.
Stand aside.
Detaunt makes it so you can't.
Pox on you.
So there I just passed that detaunt over to the grave robber. Uh-oh. I lost one.
My sword is drawn.
Alright, Masashi.
Yeah. master of strategy needn't be fast.
Ooh, that's a good hit.
Patterns and dust.
So he's using the transporter's voice right now. That's temporary.
There's more than one path up the mountain. Here.
Musashi is the carry in this one.
I do not seek glory. My path is
should do
righteous. Light, guide my hand. The flame will never die.
Not getting very lucky with the loot, though. Let's see if this treasure chest holds anything for me.
Give unto me.
Chainsaw.
An excellent find.
This is also pretty good. Finally, some loot. So there is a button to focus the camera on your character or on your target. I have mine set to middle mouse. You can rebind it, but just be aware it's a very useful feature. Some people might not know about it. Right now I'm speeding up time, getting my character over here. I've got my time control set to a toggle. So, you know, when I know that there's going to be a long distance to cover or a few rounds where I'm incapacitated or something like that.
I do not seek
It's a really
redemption.
good time for a little fast forward.
My wrath undoes the wicked. Let's not leave it to the gods.
So here I'll switch over to the isometric camera so you can get a look at that
I
one.
am of one mind.
This makes it look a lot more like a classic tactical RPG, so if you're into that, which I know some of you must
Never
be,
stray from the way.
you might want to give that one a try.
It's
It's always good to
cold
take
in the
out bone
shadow.
dogs first, because they can get really dangerous if you let them hang around.
Follows.
Little Shadow Frost with a chainsaw action.
Your eyes betray you. I will fear no evil.
Let's see if Thorian can reach. Yes, he can.
The light will guide me.
Burn in righteous flame.
And now I'll switch back. Global warming.
My sword is drawn.
So that's another kind of new thing that we've done is we've allowed you to basically grant abilities to other people in the form of sort of commands. So when somebody grants an ability to you, especially you're granting it to an enemy, it's like you're issuing them a command. And that means that you can actually cause them
There's
to
more
react
than
even
one
on
path
their
up
own
the
turn. They can summon an entity that's purely negative for them. You can do all sorts of very interesting things with
I
that.
will do this alone.
Chainsaw.
I will
That'll do it.
Death always wins.
I humbly accept this gift.
And that's a level.
A righteous victory.
Reaping time.
I'll just go ahead and give these two books. Now we can just talk real briefly about what else is to come. Of course, there's a lot of other things to come. The main thing is going to be the Dungeon Master System. At this point, you know, the game, it feels pretty complete when you're playing it, I think. You're not going to feel like you're missing too much on mechanics or gameplay. The interactables are, of course, missing here from
I will take that.
Dragon Scale
We
Mail.
must let us not sin. An excellent Famoshide.
So you can see if you're just wanting to kind of basically equipped there. It goes very quickly. You can just sort of double click through it and you'll equip pretty intelligently. Of course, you can always drag it out and custom equip. But, you know, we got several treasure chests. We're pretty lucky in that regard. But the exploration can feel a little bit empty right now since, you know, I'm just walking around and kind of running into enemies. That, of course, is going to be helped a little bit by the interactables that are coming in. And the Dungeon Master system. So the Dungeon Master system is another big thing that's not just going to be there to add another dimension to gameplay, but it also, since you can play as the Dungeon Master, will allow you to sort of have this kind of new PvP experience in which you can design a set of enemies to face whatever set of heroes your friends came up with and see who wins. You know, I'm sure that it's been done before several times. Of course, tabletop games it's done all the time. But it's, you know, a fairly different form of PvP that you don't typically see. I'm going to go ahead and do one more encounter here, and then we're going to end run. Right now, like I said, the campaign system is not done. So we're really just going to be able to go as far as we can go,
Never turn your face
either
from the
die
cold.
or end the run. Let's see what this Thriller Kill is going to do.
My gaze is broad. I've no attachment to this land.
He moonwalked. Oh, alright.
There's more than one path.
This is a tough guy right here. Now you can see that his rank is higher. He's actually a master.
Your faith is your
Almost got
weakness.
turned into a Thriller Kill myself.
Winter is coming.
That's not going to work for him. So the reason that didn't work is because he's actually trapped against this little fence here. So even though he tries to go back,
the wicked.
he can't actually go through. Now let's go get Sanctuary.
My path is righteous. Light, keep us.
See if I can beat this master. This might work. Uh-oh. I got thrilled to death. Things are looking shady. Surviving that one.
Your faith is your weakness.
Now, this is a little tricky because I know he's going to moonwalk away from me. So I'm going to first throw this at him. And now we'll come at him
Stand aside.
with a chainsaw.
I will cut you down.
Oh, he survived.
Don't get on my
I will fear
bad
no
side.
evil.
So there's nothing like a chainsaw
I
for
bring
dealing
the
with
flame.
zombies. But a
My
paladin is
strike
pretty
is
good
true.
Fast
I do
forward
not
there.
seek redemption.
Alright, this is tricky. I'm gonna want him to come to me.
Winter is coming. I will cut
I
a
do not
path.
seek glory. Stay close. Stand together. I walk through the valley.
Alright, come get me.
Your faith is your weakness.
Again, I'm gonna trigger the moonwalk
Death
first.
follows.
And then hopefully go at him with that chainsaw and harm touch. Here we go.
I will cut a path.
And oh, he's very resistant to dark. That's not gonna work for me.
Never turn your face from the cold. My path is righteous. Be cleansed by holy fire.
Alright, now we just gotta survive this round. That's good. That's good. And that's good.
It's cold in the
Too
shadow.
much defense on Thorian to transform him into a zombie, I'm afraid. For you, Thrilla. And this should do it.
We are
Thorian,
pilgrims in an unholy land. The light
do it.
will guide me. My light first!
there we go.
A hammer blow against the dark.
And that is gonna be that for now. I mean, I could keep going, but let's just go end our run, see if we get a token here. I should get one. Yep. All right, so at the end of the run there, I get a token. Just click on the token. It has a chance to upgrade, but it didn't. And I'm gonna get a new charm here. And it's just a plastic charm of health. So what I can do here is I can actually take my charm of power here, plastic charm of power, plastic charm of health, combine them. And now I've got a painted charm of health. I can also go over here and maybe buy a new charm. Let's see, how much money do I have? Okay, I'll buy bronze. Come on, upgrade. Nope. And let's see what I get. Oh, stability. Okay, so stability is an often undervalued stat. I'm gonna go ahead and use it. Now, stability will actually help protect you against anything that removes AP, anything that pushes you, things like that. So it's actually quite valuable when you're dealing with certain abilities. So that's basically it. Of course, we have a lot more to develop, but that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching. I enjoyed playing, and that's going to be it. See you next time.